Okay, the recording has started. We are now recording. Who would like for a character point this time, because we're using the new rules, who would like to earn a character point by getting everyone caught up with exactly what's going on?
I'll take a stab at it. See what I can remember. All right. So the shipment was just outside Celebre, getting ready to come in. And what is the character's name? Our gnome Barnabas was filling the role of the representative from whatever town it's headed to, the new town. God. And was going to go inspect all of the treasure and carts to take an inventory of it. Right before that happened, I got in with some farmers on the road, caused a horse to go crazy, and snuck over to one of the carts and engraved the logo of the fishing. Was it the fishing guild? Right? It's not the one that Evitalia is against. I believe it's the fishing guild on the cart, which Barnabas found. Rorik successfully organized a defense and defended the carts from the wild horse that I created. And while we listened to the insane amounts of loot that were available in those carts, our necromancer was unlocking the research to summon a boat for us, a skeleton ship. I believe that is pretty much where we left off, with everything ready to enter the city finally.
Ed, as somebody who missed a session, did that catch you up?
Yeah.
All right. There was one little detail that you did leave out that we're going to go to right now, which is what Evasion was up to. Dressed as an admiral and
Yes.
roaming the docks from tavern to tavern, making up stories.
Oh yeah, dude! Hell yeah! I forgot about that.
Me too. Yeah.
And so we're going to pick up there, where Evatala is in the midst of telling a story and is starting to hear some other stories being told back. Apparently, many of the sailors have heard tale of some scuffles that happened on the docks the previous night.
Indeed. What are they saying about it?
Well, none of them seem to agree on exactly where it happened. But all of them can agree that there was some kind of a scuffle. Some people were maybe in the shadows fighting, being pushed about, and apparently some people went overboard into the water and never came out again.
Oh, that sounds utterly dreadful. But then again, the docks.
Well, this is a notorious trade city, so while all manner of things can happen at the docks, there is generally a desire for things to not go bad at the docks, because they need that for the livelihood of the city. But, get that many people in a place, shit happens. What seems interesting is that while at first glance it might sound like these rumors might have been about the scuffle you personally were involved in the previous night, their locations are all over the place. Hearing sailors swearing they saw something but like when they tell you where they were at the time, it's not anywhere near where you were. And different sailors are saying different locations. At every pub, you meet some guy that's like, I saw something. I saw something get pushed into the water. But when he tells you which pier it was, it's not the same. You do also coincidentally start hearing some other rumors too about just various other things. This is all mixed in amongst the general set of rumors flowing through the pubs. It just caught your ear because you had yourself been involved in the scuffle the previous night.
Do any of these rumors have anything to do with the mining cooperative shipment?
They don't seem to specifically, but also they don't necessarily not. These are mostly people that glanced something out of the corner of their eye or saw something in the shadows, but when they went to check it out, no one was there, stuff like that. So none of them witnessed enough to pin anything on anybody.
And it sounds like they can't even corroborate anything because they're all telling completely contradicting information.
Yes. And from contradicting locations as well.
All right, well, I'm going to pretend I'm taking every single one of these at complete face value and believe them unequivocally.
Alrighty.
And in that, I guess my character now believes that there is a full-on, every man for himself brawl on the docks.
Yeah, if you take every single one of them at face value, then at some point the previous evening, just a whole bunch of people were either, getting into fights or pushing people off the docks simultaneously all up and down the entire set of piers.
So, correct me if I... do the Mine Cooperative, have their own, or do we know if the Mine Cooperative have their own, setup for who is going to be in charge of their ships to sail out their money? Or is that just something they're going to figure out?
To your current knowledge, they don't have that set up yet. From what you currently know, the mining cooperative is going to have to acquire multiple ships because they've got too much stuff for one ship. Pay some people to load it on, which you do know that they're planning to pay the Fishermen's Guilds to load it onto some ships. So that much you do know, but you don't know which ships. And it seems as though the mining cooperative doesn't know which ships either. Like they haven't purchased the ships yet. They are, of course, only just arriving at the front gate, which you know, but very few people other than yourself do about that schedule.
Well, I guess I should start schmoozing with people who have large quantities of ships for rent/sale.
Okay. The main players in that would be the Fishermen's Guild, of course.
Yeah.
Your own family has some ships, but not a lot. Your ship family mostly does loading and unloading. You don't actually do the sailing. There is, of course, some naval vessels under the command of the king, although the king mostly uses the Fishermen's Guild for his navy. And then there's just a shitload of private traders. Just private captains that have their one ship, and that's their ship, and they sail up and down, and those guys are all over the taverns you're in. So, pick up an empty drink and toss it in any given direction. It will probably hit a ship's captain.
It's start a bar fight.
Or a drinking song, depending on which pub you're in.
Not mutually exclusive. Well, if they're going to be loading up on Fisherman's Guild, I'm assuming they'll be using Fisherman's Guild ships. So, Do I? Yeah, I surely know who's would be the in charge contact point, and I think I might go and apply for a job.
In your full regalia, of course.
Of course, I have recently retired / been discharged after a harrowing ordeal where I was kidnapped by pirates. And I'm looking to get back on the seas. I'm an established ship's captain.
Now, I'm really excited for this next scene when you go and do that. It's definitely happening one way or the other. But before it does, so I can mentally prepare, is there any way in which that you will not immediately be recognized as Evatala of the
It depends on how good my servants are at makeup and hair color, because that's all been changed.
Alrighty then, your servants will have some roles to make.
Could I go ask Barnabas? Yeah. Will I?
Girl, I
No.
hope your performance stat is off the charts, girl. I hope you have threshold modifiers. I hope you have a high performance stat. I hope you use the right aptitude. I don't know what we're calling it on the new sheet, but good luck. Oh man.
I don't think it's going to go well. It's going to go.
It's gonna be so tight though.
At least you'll look good while you're doing it.
Yeah. Fucking slay.
All right. We'll see how this goes.
Alrighty. Meanwhile, Charles, you have just emerged from the university with your new spells. I believe you had another plan of something you wanted to get ready with one of the magic doors that you purchased. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I was planning on starting to load them up with helpers.
Okay. So it's still pretty early in the morning. It's not quite noon yet. There are a couple graveyards in the city. Mostly the lower classes are buried at sea. There's not a lot of like graveyards for the poor and underclassed. The graveyards here tend to be elaborate affairs where the wealthy bury their dead in places that are large, public, and decorative. Lots of exaggerated mausoleums and such. The sailors are oft buried at sea.
Like on boats that they push out, or just like.
But if you would like to go and get just like a whole bunch of dead nobles as your corpses, you know the place. Can't miss it, really. It's quite ostentatious. It also, upon arrival, seems to have been roped off with a brightly colored rope, and there's a guard posted outside of it. This guard is Crimson Guard, not the usual personnel who see to the plots.
Who are the Crimson Guard?
Crimson Guard are the king's personal, like, sort of army. They're an elite force of highly trained swordsmen that are usually just kind of like the police of the city, but lately have been overextended into the military endeavors going on with Aphthis. So right now, most of the Crimson Guard are actually trainees. This is a young kid who probably has not earned his full membership yet, but being short-staffed, he's on guard duty. Behind him, you do see some other members of the Crimson Guard, including a woman who, while she has the basic gear of the Crimson Guard, she also has a bunch of additional stuff on her head, like magnifying glasses and investigation tools, and it looks like maybe a little bit of magic.
Oh, gosh darn it. This is going to be a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of heat there, dude.
It's a lot of heat, but none of it's on you right now.
Well, yeah, but once very finely dressed zombies come shambling out, it will be a problem.
It could be.
I heard there's a lot of dead people at the docks.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I was thinking about that of heading down to the docks and just having since it seems like this place is a little bit heated around with a bunch of guards that I don't know how to deal with, because if they
Yeah,
catch me,
It looks like they're investigating a crime that happened here.
yeah, I do not want to add a new crime to a scene that they're investigating, because
Did you want to ask them anything?
sure. Go up to the other thing. It's like, oh, interesting. And now used to seeing the King's Guard here at a nobleman's cemetery.
Terribly sorry, sir. We have to close it down to investigate. There appears to have been some grave robbing.
Grave robbing? Oh, the audacity of people.
Indeed, and just between you and me, it's a little scary. They dug up every single grave in one night. I don't even know how you get the manpower here to do that.
I am not sure myself. Unless if they were using of some kind of dark magic, then they might have been. Then the bodies themselves might have helped them.
He looks at your outfit. Do you have some expertise in that?
I've dabbled in that area.
Weirdly, he doesn't seem like he's accusing you. He seems like he needs help, like he's out of his depth.
Some might say I have perused in the arts that people usually shy away from them. I have some academic research in them.
He calls over to the woman that's investigating, and she comes over and goes, "Oh, good, are you from the university? We need to figure out what happened here." Much like the boy that was standing guard, she appears to be way too young to be doing this. Yeah, they've run out of the adults. The adults are out fighting the war. Now, by adults, I mean like the well-trained soldiers. Technically, these are all adults. They're just like they're just starting out their career in the Crimson Guard. So
they're like 20-year-olds, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Like fresh out of their GED,
Yeah.
the general education part of their career.
They've been taught which end of the sword is pointy. No, actually, the Crimson Guard is pretty well renowned for being badass at training. So you expect that they probably are pretty dangerous people with a sword, but right now this investigation is kind of outside of the domain of what they're taught, and they're filling in as cops as best they can.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll follow.
For example, an adult would probably have checked your credentials instead of just assuming you were sent by the university. But here we are.
So I feel feeling this might be a work of a friend of mine. I don't say that out loud, but in my head I think about that because it's suspicious that
It does look fairly consistent. You have a large quantity of graves that do appear from your trained eye to have been dug out from the inside.
yeah, didn't see there's actually claw marks on the inside of the casings here, as if the bodies themselves were pushing their way through.
She flips down some of her magnifying glasses and goes, "Holy crap. So we've got an undead army out here. Where did they go?" She's looking around. It's broad daylight. Judging by the tracks, it does look like, and she picks up on this, it looks like they exited to the south.
Yeah, they look like they're out to the south. What exactly is it in the south?
The docks.
They went out into the docks.
She asks you
Quick
a couple.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, so so obviously, like, it looks tight, like he's familiar with this stuff, but does he have some kind of, like, can he sense undead at all? Is that a thing he can do? Or is it more like they're potentially hibernating and he can't pick up on that? But that's a lot of undead. You know
It
what I'm
is.
saying? Wouldn't it give off a kind of a vibe of some kind? That's all I'm saying.
And in a previous session, he cast a spell that allowed him to detect undead and even backhacked who was controlling them.
Yeah. This is like for sure. We can probably trace this guy and hopefully usurp this force that he's already mustered up, or otherwise disable it, because that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, because I also have that watch that like helps me with that. But yeah. Yes. It looks like they go traveling to the docks. So, but that sounds so suspicious. Someone might have seen a horde of undead come their way if this was true.
How would you disguise undead? She asks, scratching her head. If they were all moving together in a pack, then they would be immediately recognized as a pack of zombies, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think about this. How many doors do you think that would take? Like, how many graves are gone currently? You think you have out here?
So by your estimation, there's, because not all of the corpses would have been like complete, but of the ones that were of good quality and from what you see of the dig up, you're guessing somewhere around 60 corpses got up and walked away.
Yeah, they either walked to the docks or they potentially walked into a door.
You think they were teleported? If they went down to the docks, wouldn't somebody have seen them?
Yeah, someone would have seen them even in the middle of the night.
All right, then we're going to need to go down and start investigating. She tells to her companion, Jared, keep everything secure here. We'll be back. And begins heading down towards the docks. Presumably with you following, but she doesn't know that for certain.
Yeah, I'll follow down there because after they're done, I might just pull out some zombies if there's any in the water. But yeah, I'll go down to the docks to find out if my adversary has done, because this might be a complication that I can stop.
One of the first things you notice is that the signs of like their passage immediately spread out as soon as they leave the cemetery. So they didn't move in a clump. But once you get maybe a block away, you can't find the tracks anymore. The muddied footprints on the cobblestone have been washed away by the passage of just the city life. But yeah, it does look like whatever they were up to, they immediately spread out and went in different directions, still heading southward. When you get to the docks, we'll get into that in a moment. Meanwhile, at the north end of the city, having completed your investigation, Barnabas, or whatever name you lied to them about, so that they're now ready. If your tabulations are complete, we're ready to approach the gate and begin the process of going through customs.
Excellent. Do I need to help with the customs process?
Oh, very soft voice there. Let me double your volume. Okay.
Sorry if I blow out your ears, but for some reason my volume was turned down.
No problem. I've got you back to 100%. Okay. So what's going on?
Do I need to help with the customs process, like with my audit logs or anything of the inventory I took?
Nope. That is not your responsibility. That he wanted the logs before entering the city with you because he believes that you were a representative of Corlanth, and he wants to make sure that Corlanth has an accurate count of what they intend to bring before entering the city and going through customs and merging it with the rest of the stuff.
Cool, makes sense.
Okay. In that case, yeah, they proceed up to the gate, and let's see. I need to get my notes. All right, so immediately the guards come out. These guards, while they are mostly young, there is one really, really old guy, like ancient, in a wheelchair. One of his arms is missing, but he's got some really expensive prosthetics. Like his right hand is just a little magical artifact that floats in the air where his right hand should be. His right arm, of course, being completely missing. This guy looks like he was well and deeply retired and got pulled out of retirement to run the customs intake at the gate. He also knows exactly who you guys are. He's been just waiting to take everything into custody. There's quite... Yeah.
When you say they know who we are, you mean our true identities?
No. He knows that... well, he knows that you're there with Edgar Parrington, who is a representative of the board of directors for the mining cooperative. So yeah, that's what he knows, and he's ready for Edgar, and they have words with each other for quite some time actually, because he wants to take literally everything into custody as evidence of crimes committed in Baron. And Edgar will have none of that, is claiming Celebran citizenship, and that these things need to be treated as private property. And, of course, all of the guards that Edgar brought with him are posturing, along with all of the Crimson kiddos. And, yeah, it's a bit standoffish for a bit.
Are the guards still pint-sized in their oversized uniforms?
Yes, they have not taken any sips from the flasks on their hips yet. So in a lot of ways, it is kind of a hilarious showing, but you do know that all of them are one sip away from things getting very rough very fast.
And wouldn't I also be there since I'm Parrington's chief security officer?
That is absolutely correct. You are there.
Cool. So I'm fucking huge also. I just punched a horse.
Yep. Now, eventually they calm down, and they agree to basically to take instead of taking them into evidence, they're going to take them into holding. There's a particular warehouse that they agree to as a neutral state to store things in, pending litigation, in which they're going to go to the courts and have the courts determine whether these are to be treated as criminal evidence or treated as goods passing through the city. And they begin to proceed inside. Once inside the city, there are two people that come up to meet you guys. You had seen them briefly when you first came out the North Gate, but they ran into the city very quickly and avoided you. But one of them is the proprietor of the Necromancer's gambling establishment, the casino that you guys were in briefly, and the other one is Jax. Barnabas, you're going to need to make a roll to see if Jax recognizes you. You need to make sure your disguise is up to snuff.
Great. Would that be persuasion? Or crime?
It could be performance. It could be crime. It could be artistry. It's like a elaborate. It's a makeup kind of thing. Do you have like a disguise kit, like as one of your items?
I don't know if I mean, I'm definitely in disguise. I just don't know if it counts as an official item.
So you had spent like an entire day going through the markets collecting materials to make your disguise. So a disguise kit is not necessary here, but yeah, some amount of roll to determine how you've assembled your disguise. What are you leaning on here? What's the key thing that's making you not recognizable as Barnabas to your former associate Jax?
It's definitely my disguise. I mean, I guess like I'm a master of disguise.
So, like for example, if I can just jump in, like it could be your outfit. So that could include things like the way your hair is styled, your beard, your clothes, your shoes. But there's also performance stuff, like does your voice sound different? Do you walk differently? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess definitely it's going to be performance then. And then I don't know if like, is there any way that the disguise I put together would give me any pips or anything?
Yeah. Well, we'll say that gives you 4 pips. Also, because you do have criminal potential, and you are definitely, I think you're playing to one of your traits here. Stone-faced, right?
I'm not familiar with the stone face trait.
Oh, it's written down in your traits. You wrote it, so what does that mean?
Can you tell me where you're looking?
I'm looking on your character sheet. It says lacks patience for small talk, doesn't put up with slackers, stone-faced.
I see. Sorry. I didn't know that was anything that would impact my role.
Oh yeah, if you have advantage because you're playing to one of your traits, then you can use your criminal potential as additional dice.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. Nice.
Don't
Yes.
worry, guys. I'm gonna litigate for more dice for you every time. Don't even trip.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with performance plus my disguise plus the fact that just Barnabas is so used to having to deal with stressful situations that like he's unfazed by this. Hence the stone-faced. And I guess cunning maybe is the aptitude or whatever that would go along with that.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
What does the trait get me? Or how does that impact my roll?
Well, your criminal potential is 3, so it gives you an extra 3 dice because you have advantage playing to that trait.
Excellent. And do I have to tax anything for that?
No.
Cool.
Yeah. The idea is that as long as you can narrate why your criminal potential is helping you, and that your trait applies in this situation, then those dice from your potential are dice for you to use. They become additive, is the way it's explained in the rules. Instead of being an alternative set of dice, they're an additive dice to your you're set up.
That is awesome. Yeah, when I wrote those traits, I don't know if there's like official traits I should be using. I literally was just writing character traits of Barnabas, so I don't know.
There is no official list. That's exactly the way you do it. You write narratively what those traits would be, and so that's perfect.
Awesome. Cool. All right. And we're off.
Okay, Jax does not recognize you.
Wonderful.
Jax does recognize Rurik, but so does the so does the proprietor of the gambling hall, who immediately turns to Edgar and says, "Wait, are you poaching my staff now?" As he believes that Rurik is one of the bouncers in his establishment. Wait, no, I'm sorry. You were Talus' bodyguard then. Ah, I'm misremembering that. Okay.
Yeah, I work freelance. Freelance security, you know?
So he goes, so he comments, "Whoa, you managed to buy that away from that rich lady?
You know,
You got
I'm
some
at a
serious
point of
coin
my
there." Edgar turns
career-
to him, though, and gives him a very serious note and says, "You should be careful that she doesn't find out what you have in your pocket." And he just shuts right up. Jax,
Me personally?
Hmm?
You talking to me? About me?
He's talking about you. Yeah.
Oh, what?
And Edgar has told the necromancer to be careful that you do not find out what he has in his pocket.
I look at him with malicious intent.
He backs down. Jax looks like he was about to say something about your being here because you were present in the town when his associate was murdered, and he was framed for it. But after hearing that exchange, he backs down. So he's decided not to say anything about that right now. All right. So all of the carts are taken over to the warehouse. Even though the ones that were for the guards quarter stuff, they're all 13 carts are being rolled in. And as they're closing the door, let's see. As they're closing the door, Lyria comes up to you and says, what he said about his pocket, that's relevant to why I'm here. Look, don't freak out. We can get this resolved. But
Yeah?
they put Amalia's soul into a coin, and he's holding on to that coin.
I fucking knew it!
As long as we play ball, she'll get out just fine. We'll have lots of money, and we'll be back in business. The tunnels will be a thing of the past we won't even have to worry about.
Larry, I hope you understand how difficult it is for me to maintain my composure.
I know. I saw what you did to that guy.
But you know where to find me when you're ready to collaborate on this problem.
I know where to find you. And in a way, I'm glad you're here, but just keep your cool, because a misstep and we don't just lose the money.
You better not be fucking with me.
She looks at you with her most serious of faces, of which she has many, according to her character sheet.
Yep.
And says, "I am most certainly not fucking with you. This is serious shit, and we need to take this seriously."
Well, if you have any information, about this guy, anything at all, and why...
I just know he's not the one who did it, but he's the one who's holding on to the coin.
Who did it?
Actually, I do have that. She does have the name of the guy who did it. Let me find it.
What happened to her body?
It was done by a necromancer by the name of Arthul Daganov.
Okay.
He's a demon summoner that used demonic power to take her body and soul and transmute her into this coin.
So she is the coin. Got it. Like body and soul.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Cool. Thanks. Much higher now. And so, like, why?
I don't know. It doesn't look like it was forced. She seems to have done it willingly as part of some larger plan that I'm not privy to. I am here to make sure that this asshole, she doesn't say that too loud though, she under her breath, this asshole, pointing to Edgar, lives up to his end of the bargain and lets her out when the deal is done. I'm her insurance to cause trouble, and now that you're here, you are too.
Well, thanks for the insight. I look forward to our next discussion.
Just keep him alive. He can't live up to his end of the bargain if he dies.
Duly noted.
Though I'm sure all of us are imagining that if he doesn't live up to his end of the bargain, he probably will die. But that's an issue for another day. All right.
I don't need him to live. I just need that coin.
And someone with the expertise to get her out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Meanwhile, let's see, Dasco, what are you up to?
I have no idea. I'm just wandering around the town, I guess. I mean, like, what's happening that I might be involved in? Where's the money at?
You do know that a former member of your crew is present in the city and is acting as a bodyguard for the caravan you guys were planning to rob. So I've been presuming you've been laying low to not draw her attention.
Oh, it's her? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I owe her a lot of money, so I'm probably going to continue that strategy.
Yeah, it is Delia.
Yeah, Delia beat me to a pulp. So I'm going to avoid her if at all possible, and otherwise just wander about the city and collect stuff that might be useful going forward. I'm mostly going to be hanging around the docks at this point, just trying to figure out, get the lay of the land, and just to see what we're dealing with once this gets underway.
Okay, so you've got some friends down at the docks, specifically from your crew. So Evatala is down there. She's about to go have a meeting with the Fisherman's Guild in the least disguisey disguise ever conceived. She's awarded herself all kinds of medals and awards. It's fantastic. But also, Charles is on his way down as well. The docks are the docks of Celebre in all of their glory. It does appear that the previous evening there was something of a scuffle. You do happen to know that some of your crew did almost exactly what you told the Thieves Guild representative you would do, which is that they lured a representative from Corlanth out to the docks, murdered him, and Barnabas took his place.
Excellent.
Would you like to meet up with Evatala or with Charles, or run on your own?
I'm going to try and find the crew of the ship that we're going to be getting on and ingratiate myself with them as a friendly ear.
Evatala then. So that's what she's trying to do.
Except Talus trying to be the captain of the ship.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and set myself apart from Evatala a little bit, and I'm gonna go try and hang out with the actual the people in front of the mast. You know, like the just random dudes who are gonna be doing like the rigging, just general sailing stuff, like the regular everyday sailors.
Okay. Right now, the big problem is that nobody knows what ship they're going to use because they do not appear to have actually come down to negotiate for a ship yet.
What does used sword salesman do?
Oh,
Use sword
so many
salesman?
things.
It lets me take an item that I can take an item that's basically worthless and then pretend that it's not, and then use it as if it had value.
But can you do that about a person?
I mean, if I was selling people, I guess that's a bit dark even for Dasco.
Not in the slavery sense, but in a sort of like a promotional marketing kind of way.
I mean, I get what you're saying, actually. That kind of makes sense. The basic idea is that you're a sales guy given a sales pitch.
Yeah. And the pitch could be, hey, I like the cut of this guy's chip. He's pretty cool. Hey, she looks like very competent. You know what I'm saying?
My long con plan is to ingratiate myself with the crew, convince them that she is not is not in fact competent, and then have the crew mutiny and take the ship where we want it to go.
Fair enough. Good point.
With or without Evatala?
It doesn't matter. She can just take the disguise off, and she'll be a stowaway. It doesn't matter. We'll figure that out when it happens.
She just needs to be a figurehead, She's got to just stand there looking authoritative and awesome.
It's a lot easier to convince the crew that the captain is incompetent when the captain is actually incompetent.
That was my thought exactly. So,
Yeah, fair enough. Totally fair.
Alrighty. So we'll join into that in a bit. Remy, what are you up to? You got to watch them go through the gates.
God, I don't really have a crew right now. They're all off doing their own thing. I don't know. I'm just kind of following the. I'm gonna kind of just tell the carts.
Okay. So carts are going and being stored in a warehouse while a legal dispute about their status has arisen. So there's definitely going to be some action down at the courthouse regarding that. But yeah, they're in a warehouse. The warehouse is guarded by the Crimson Guard on the outside and by the Mining Cooperative on the inside. Neither of whom trust each other. The Mining Cooperative is there to prevent the Crimson Guard from stealing the treasure, and the Crimson Guard is there to prevent the Mining Cooperative from smuggling the treasure out of that warehouse to the docks.
Gotcha. All right, I'm gonna think about it for a little bit.
Okay. So then let's roll on down to the docks, where Dasco and Evatala are from opposite directions, I presume, approaching the Fisherman's Guild. This is not the full guild hall, but is one of the sort of places scattered around the docks where they have official guild representation. You think of them as little chapter houses it's such a big city that they need more than one in order to run things smoothly. A large amount of this is actually dedicated to real, actual fishing. Shipping is not purely their endeavor. Thus, their competition with the Teamsters. But there they are. There's basically a chapter house master who is there to help settle disputes and things. There's a bunch of fishermen filing paperwork and stuff, and a bunch more just hauling fish. A city this size does need a significant amount of food, and fish are a good source for that. Grains come down out of the north as well, but yeah. It does cause quite a stir when somebody dressed as an admiral comes in. We're gonna make the roll for your servants here.
Okay.
So, literally no one is fooled, and those who are aware of your family know exactly who you are.
That's great.
Is there an opportunity for any kind of flashback action, or no? That's not
Absolutely. There's always opportunity for flashback action.
Yeah, now's the time to try and do that. Got it. I think probably maybe.
I mean, my flashback isn't particularly helpful. I can't bribe the entire fishing guild. But what I could do, I don't know if this works, but I could invoke contingency, where I pay with leadership to make an immediate test against a new goal. I don't know if it works because it was technically the servants, but I guess it kind of helped.
Yeah, I believe it was the servant that had the impertinence to suggest that if you actually wanted to go unnoticed, you should dress as a servant. Because no one pays attention to them. And then you proceeded to immediately ignore her and her suggestion.
Okay, so can I use contingency on this?
Yes.
Okay.
You're just gonna do the reverse of whatever fucking Sailor Moon does, and
All right. Yes.
no, but I'm just a humble handmaiden.
So, I basically go in there quite harried. It's instead of like trying to walk really official like. I want to be quite harried and grab like the first person I see that looks like a secretary type that isn't like actually holding fish or something. And say that I need to speak with whoever is like management on an urgent matter. I assume this is performance/persuasion-ish. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Roll some persuasion.
All right.
Shouldn't be too hard.
You got this.
I assume it's persuasion plus empathy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You've got their attention. It says, "My lady, yes. What can I help you with?"
Just tell them that somebody important needs to meet with them urgently. Don't let anybody know I was here.
Of course. My lady. He keeps his voice down there.
Silence.
And the secretary scuttles back, and eventually a big old fisher person, like every stereotype: the hook hand, the peg leg, the patch over one eye, big old beard, smells of fish more than anything, comes stumbling out, and is actually followed by I'm not going to say well-dressed, but a woman who has poise despite being in fisherman's slicks. Looks like she actually is like fresh from the water. Oilskins and just like, almost in rain wet wear, but standing with a poise that says, none of you can do anything to me.
I like acknowledge them, like without like fully making eye contact. Like, oh hi, is there a place we can talk in private? I'm just trying to be as hurried and hastened as possible.
The big old fisherman says, "All right, back office," and then he turns and he says, "Mrs. Ironhook, thank you for your visit." And she walks haughtily out of the building, everybody giving her a wide berth as he takes you into his office.
It's basically, I get ushered in first, presumably.
Yes.
And I'm immediately like reaching back to close the door behind us. If there's blinds or anything, I want like down, darkened. Like, this is a dark, this is a private meeting. I'm very clear on that. If there's a lock on the door, it's locked.
All right. Meanwhile, just outside that door, Dasco, you witness all of this from wherever it is you're lurking at the moment. But you're now in a place full of fishermen with whatever scheme is going on.
All right, I'm just gonna sit down and just start start listening to some fisherman tales and just generally being. I'm going to look interested in all of their tales, even if I think that they're lies, and I'm going to just revel in their expertise at sailing.
So, most of the tales at the moment are about some mad captain that's been roaming the bars this morning, telling insane stories of wild adventures at sea. There's also some tale of some scrap that happened at the docks the previous night. No one seems to be able to agree on where it happened. And the usual tales of adventure. Some people in here actually claim to have sailed recently with a famed gambler who is so lucky that having him on your ship means you will encounter no storms, nor squall, nor any misfortune on your sailing.
That sounds like a useful feller.
They say that the trick is you have to lose a game to get him to board your ship.
I just jokingly say, well, I'd be really good at that.
As they continue to mend their nets and count their fish, a couple of them do inquire as to which games you like best.
So I play a bit of cards, a bit of dice. I play Rue from time to time. I'm bad at all of them. See, but it's not about winning the money. It's about the camaraderie,
So they're about to try to get you to play a game of Liar's Dice, and they're going to see if they can just work as a team to take you for all you're worth. Do you want to let them do it and have it be all in good fun, or do you want to turn the tables on these guys and take their shit?
I mean, my character's actually pretty good at Liar's Dice. But no, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and have it in good fun and just show that I'm a good sport and just play a friendly game with them.
Okay.
I'm not gonna wager very much. Well, actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and wager just a reasonable amount or whatever.
Okay.
I intend to lose though.
Right. So if you would like to tax your resources, or if you actually have money, you could tax like a significant quantity of money. If you wanted to like develop significant goodwill from these guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play the game with them. I'll lose like a small amount of money. I'll tax my resources by one.
Okay.
And then when I'm down, I'll say, you know what? Let's just do double or nothing. And then I'll quietly and solemnly take a old dagger that I've got that I just picked up from somewhere. And I'll put it down on the table. I'm going to go ahead and use a used sword salesman. It's like a Q2 dagger, so it's worth 2 value, which is actually a lot of money. And then I'm going to explain the great history of this dagger, how it belonged to someone who was who fought in the wars in the north against the demons or whatever. Picked it up there. Not much of a fighter myself, but it's got some sentimental value and definitely got a bit of demon blood on it, if you know what I mean. And I'll go ahead and lose that as well. And then as a good sport, I'll say, told you I wasn't very good, guys. But good to meet all of you, and it's good to see honest sailors, I say.
All right, so you've acquired some temporary ally/followers here, if they end up involved in the scene further. Meanwhile, inside the office...
Sorry I came on such short notice. And by short notice, I mean literally none notice and in disguise, but I have to emphasize, this meeting cannot begin until you and everybody who knows me here did not see me today. I cannot make that clear enough. This is an urgent matter, and I cannot be seen here in this meeting right now.
Well, what seems to be the problem? He's about to say lady, and then he changes it as lass.
Okay. So, big problem. Family drama, but it affects you, and, well, you know me, we've done business together, and, you know, business is business, but there is a line. And when somebody crosses that line, it's imperative that that is stopped. Because otherwise, that interrupts business for all of us. And we did not intend on objecting to your deal with the cooperative, and we still do not object officially. Unfortunately, some rogue elements of the family, and this has only come up in the last 24 hours or so, are intending on interrupting your shipment. And I'm here because interrupting your shipment is ultimately going to hurt us as well. And it cannot say how important it is that you do not let anybody know that I'm the one telling you this.
All right, he sits down at his desk and contemplates this for a moment. Clearly, this guy, while he may look like the stereotypical fisher boat captain, this guy's been in the political game for a bit and understands what you're saying, what's going on. He's a little skeptical because there is a lot of rivalry, that this might be a trick, but if you can overcome 3 successes of persuasion, he'll buy your story flat out.
Oh, right. Probably this just say roll again, isn't it? Do you have anything to?
You probably do. Let's take a look at your character sheet.
How about this? Not particular.
No,
like
yeah, you're not really being born rich. You're not really being reckless. Not really being a kleptophile. Not being flamboyant. This is pretty standard spy stuff you're doing right here.
I guess you could say it's reckless because I've just rushed in without a meeting in disguise.
Without a plan or any prior thought of how this should go.
Yeah.
All right. You're being a little reckless. That's fair. You're also here with essentially without backup. I mean, you've got Dasco, but
She was reckless the moment she decided I'm going to give myself like super full range,
Right.
like all the badges, so many medals, so many badges. That's
So,
like, yeah, locked and loaded.
so what would that be for Pips? Sorry.
Oh, so that's a trait, which means that
Yeah.
you, if you have a potential that you can narrate as relevant, you can do so.
Oh, yes, technically. Yeah, I could go with crime potential for this because, like, fully the intention is to eventually get access to do some crime.
Right.
And she's just trying to basically force her way in after the disguise has clearly not worked.
All right, so that'll add an extra 2 dice on top of your persuasion plus empathy roll.
All right. And I needed them.
Hey, that's good enough. That did the trick.
Right.
Okay. He believes that you're sincere. He says, "All right, let's sit down then." Probably chose the wrong outfit for staying disguised there, but we can address that.
I look at him just bewildered.
And so he goes to the door, motions one of his secretaries over, whispers something, closes the door, sits back down. Says, "All right. So you've got somebody that's gonna be bringing some trouble my way. Is that right?"
Yeah, I'm not. I was tipped off about it. So essentially, what happened is that I was asked to, be an envoy to somebody connected to my cooperative who I, was just to let them know that we weren't particularly happy about, but we weren't going to object. And I was heard through like my servants and the gossip around that apparently that was a trick to preclude something happening tonight. And essentially, they want to make sure your shipment comes up short. And a shipment coming up short in a city like ours, no matter who's in charge, puts everybody into question. I believe that the goons have already been hired and that it may go up through some of your workers tonight who have been.
All right. It's good that you brought this to me.
Ah.
Our original contract was not to sail the ships themselves, but just to load the cargo onto ships that we were told would be provided.
Interesting.
But if what you're saying is true, I'm almost certain that the ships that are going to be provided are where we're going to find that feller, because I know every man outside that door, and they're all worth their salt. I don't believe any of them would betray us. This is kind of hilarious to you because you know exactly which two have betrayed him. I'm going to see if I can. Are you willing to explain this to the mining cooperative's representative? I know that's a hard ask. You don't want your identity known.
Like it's the problem is that I also have a no to them, and like I'm more comfortable talking with you because while we are competitors, we understand each other. Ultimately, we want the same thing.
Business has to flow, of course.
We want this port to remain profitable for both of us.
The issue, the problem, is that coming from me, it's going to sound like I'm trying to sell him my boats. It's not going to sound like a genuine threat. It's going to sound like me coming up with something to say, hey, you should hire my ships instead of whoever it is you're getting your ships from. I want that. I'm not going to lie. That would be good for me. So I do want that. But coming from me, the mining cooperative is probably not going to buy it. And they almost certainly had their own reasons for not trying to get their ships from us.
Yeah.
For the life of me, though, I don't know where they're getting their ships from.
I was asking around the dock, like, I've been in tavern after tavern, and I have not heard either. I'm not sure they know.
Smart,
Right now.
actually. If you don't plan that far ahead, it's hard for somebody
Yeah.
to get somebody on the boat to wait it out and be ready to steal your
Yeah.
shit.
But also, like, ultimately, it's probably going to come down to whatever the best price is. And
It's fair.
that's predictable. You and I both know who to go to for, good off-the-books prices.
He leans back and strokes his beard, almost exactly like I'm doing now. So if I'm hearing what you're saying, you're suggesting that I offer ships pro bono, an offer that financially should not be refused.
Yes. Because if that's the case, then all you have are loyalists. And there may be, like, I do not know who's coordinating everything that's going to go down tonight. It's a couple steps below me. I've tried to find out. I have not been able to. But I could help if you get them to do your chefs. They have the thing. I could possibly be around in disguise to recognize and maybe tip you off as the ruckus takes place, because like I don't want. Look, I want this shipment to go through. I want this to come in, go out, everything's done, and then whether it's the fishing guild or the Hellfire family, like there's plenty enough to go around here. But if there's trouble and the docks are not safe, and you've heard the rumors, like it sounds like a full-on brawl went out there last night. It's our responsibility to keep these docks safe.
This is a tough sell because we're standing to make a lot of money from doing this loading operation. But if we also give them free passage on 3 of our galleons, which is what it looks like it's going to take, then that means we're also losing money, and the balance of it is going to come up a lot shorter than it should. I don't want this to be a break-even job. At that point, why even take it?
Valid point. Let's think.
He leans back in chair and says, I'm sure there's a mathematical solution to this. After all, as you've pointed out, we both stand to benefit from things going smoothly on the docks.
That's true. And I think I hear what you're recognizing, and I cannot promise you this can't come out of my own pocket, because I'm here as a service try to prevent this. So if I could help cover your loss a bit, because ultimately it's somebody within our Hellfire family that's caused this issue. To a degree, we're responsible, but ultimately, we're going to have to take a bit of a hit here together to keep everything rolling smoothly.
Okay.
Because
fundamentally, flowery words aside, he basically asked for you to cover part of the cost of the ships.
Yep.
And you're basically saying no. Is that right?
I'm saying, like, I'll give a token gesture. But ultimately, I want to make sure that the shipment goes through.
Do we have like a bunch of wealth from Dasco's various fraudulent sales of not actually valuable goods?
Yes, you could literally tax 3 of those and pay for all 3 ships.
Yep.
I only have 2 of that left. That bag of money. But that's kind of why I'm trying to cut a deal here. Like,
All right. So he says, all right. So since the fault of this matter does fall on your house, how about we cut a deal? You pay for 2 ships. I'll pay for 1. It's gonna take 3 ships to haul their shit anyway.
you okay? Question. I know we aren't really a big like shipping out company. We're more about docks loading and unloading, and customs.
By sea, yes, but actually by land, you guys have huge like wagon trains and shit. Yeah.
But we do have a few ships beyond the yacht.
You do. Yep.
Are any of them not being used?
Make a resources check. Find out.
All right.
Or alternatively, you tax the 2. You say, yeah, sure, I'll buy these 2 ships, and then you can they're yours. They're Talus fleet, her private fleet. You own them. They're your ships. You can name them. They can be purple. Do whatever.
But green's my favorite color. No, that's actually a good point. I think that's better than wax pound. So, okay, but if I do this, like, they're my ships, right?
Yes.
I buy these ships. Deal. But for the purposes of this, just to make sure everything's all up and up, it's going through you, and the profits are yours. But going forward, it's for staffing and all that, they're my ships.
He says, "We agree. We'll have to find some ships and clean them out. Make sure that they get a fresh crew of people we trust. But I'm going to need you to get into a proper disguise first." At this point, his secretary comes back with that same woman that had just left. She seems a little annoyed to be here. And he says, "Mrs. Ironhook, we have a bit of an issue, but I think we have also a resolution." When he says the word resolution, he's taking your bags of coins and chunking them up and down on the desk. Her first order of business is like, so we need to disguise you, and Mrs. Ironhook goes and gets you some proper sailing oilskins, which it's all-weather gear. They're basically meant to keep you dry no matter what happens to you. They also do not look in any way beautiful or pretty. They're ugly. You look like a commoner.
They're brutally utilitarian.
Very utilitarian, and in so doing, almost entirely disguise you. You look like a fisherman.
So I'm going to go upstairs. I'm in the parking lot, so I will be joining on this call again very shortly.
Cool. We'll see you then.
Whatever room Avatella is changing in, she breaks down in tears for a bit.
The sacrifices you're making. Just remember, you're doing it to have your own fleet and vast wealth and riches.
Yeah. All right. So
right.
it's
Charles. You continue with the investigator down to the docks, and start investigating. And what you start to discover is that underneath the docks there are footprints. And you do eventually pick up the trail and find that it does appear that these undead have walked into the sea. Being undead, they can just walk along the bottom of the ocean without too much trouble. You don't know where they've gone.
All right. Question before that. When you were in that one of those last scenes, did you say the demon guy's name was Arthul?
Yes, that was your grocer, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Little Little demon goblin guy. Okay.
The one who summons demons in order to get his stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the first order of business is I'll just have to double check to see if they're anywhere close or not, or if this is like going to I'm going to do the same thing I did in the swamps a little while back. I'm going to try to detect the undead around here to see if they're anyone nearby.
Okay. Go ahead and make your roll to cast your spell. Or is this a memorized spell? I don't. Do you have memorization? There we go. Everybody's character sheets are called new something now, which has destroyed alphabetizing. It's fine.
Yeah, I have memorization, but I don't have it that thing as a spell.
Ah, okay. So you do have to improvise it.
I do have mastery.
Okay, that's good. So you get to use your scholarship when attempting this.
Yeah, so focus, scholarship, necromancy
Yes.
potential.
And if you had esoteric improvisation, you would do it at half difficulty, which is awesome. But yeah, so we're doing just at the normal difficulty. Go ahead and roll. Oh, yeah, you clear that easily. Yeah, so these guys are pretty fresh. They haven't had time to get far. They are in the water. They're out in the little stretch of ocean that pushes up to Celebrae. You can sense them out there at the bottom. It's about 60 of them, and they are tromping along the bottom of the ocean, heading out towards Half-Elven.
I would like to potentially gain control of them and return them back to sender.
Okay. You can sense the sort of pattern of the person. You recognize who sent them. It's not your necromancer demon friend. It's a different one. It's the guy who you know is... he likes to fill them with explosives.
Oh, god damn it.
And he's a pretty good controller, so it's going to be a contested roll against him if you want to try and get control away from him.
Yeah, I'm going to try to fight my old teammate.
Okay. Let me roll to see what you're up against here. So you're up against 8 successes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not some little hireling, low-level necromancer. You've worked with this guy. This guy's a serious professional. It feels like he's probably using some magic items that he keeps on him, as well as using his masteries to their fullest. This is what this guy does. He commands armies of undead, fills them with explosives, and does tremendous damage. But if you beat the roll, you can take over some of these guys.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. If I can't pay for something, I can use. Is it stamina? 5 stamina. Like if I needed to spend perception, I could spend 5 stamina instead.
Are we still doing that conversion rate, Ed?
Let me see.
Or do you need to have talents now to do that?
You need talents to do some things, but yeah. No. So you can shift stuff to your stamina natively. If you want to actually spend out of stamina, you need to have a talent.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you need second wind to do it for physical things, and there's an equivalent for mental things.
Dang, I don't actually. Because I guess I can't use omniscience because I need 3 perception, and I don't have 3 perception.
Like to spend?
That's an interesting one.
Like, is that the activation cost?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, fuck.
Yep. So you can't use it. Did you get it as a?
As a heritage.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you'll need to get your perception up to 3 before you can use it, unless you have some talent that lets you spend out something else.
Okay.
So under normal circumstances, without the heritage trait, you have to get perception up to 5 before you can purchase that.
Yeah, that's the downside to getting stuff in heritage traits, is you can't always afford it, or it's useless, right? Where it's just like you use the talent, but it gives you like your leadership and dice, but your leadership is like 0 or 1 or something like that.
Yeah, because I've used it several times before, but yeah.
All right. Real quick, would the necromancer have to be close by to do this? Like in the dock area?
So, Tice, you would be aware that the necromancer would have had to have physically been in the graveyard to initiate the spell, but now that the spell is initiated, does not necessarily need to be on site. So, less than 12 hours ago, that necromancer was standing in the graveyard. Where they are now is not clear.
And the graveyard is not from where the docks are, right?
No, it's roughly in the middle of the city. It's near the giant hole in the ground where the old university used to be before the incident.
All right, and I don't think I can use my watch because it's not powered currently to give me pips.
There it is. Mindfulness is the other one.
So this
Instead
is
of paying the cost of talents used for mental actions, you may instead tax your stamina by an amount equal to 3 times that cost.
All right, let's see what I can do. Oh my god, I actually got 9 successes.
Wow. All right. So you have 1 success over the limit, so you are able to take control of one of the zombies. What would you like to do with your new zombie?
Is it still within the pack of group?
They're spread out a little bit, but yeah, it's still there with some other zombies that you can sense.
Okay. I'm going to make it self. I'm gonna make it self detonate under the water near its buddies.
Okay, cool. Let's see what it does.
Because if there's enough of them, they'll cause that one to detonate, which will cause the other one to detonate.
You're trying to chain them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
6 of the zombies, in addition to the one you took control of, stop responding to your necromancer pings, so they're no longer there. So 7 of the 60 are gone, which I need to take a note of.
That's better than 10%. Out of 60, right? 7 out of 60?
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And now, I guess I'll turn to the Red Guard and be like, just a heads up, there'll be an undead mask arriving at the half-elven city.
She says, "Oh my god, we need to send word to them right away."
Also, just a heads up, they're filled with explosives.
She runs down the docks and commandeers the first ship she comes upon that's untying and getting ready to set sail. It happens to be some kind of luxurious yacht. And so she jumps on board, holding out her badge, saying, "I'm commandeering this vessel to head for Half Elven." And apparently they were heading that way anyway, because it's the only direction you can go. So she is off to the races there. Do you want to follow her, or do you want to stick with your group and continue your heist?
I'm going to continue with my group.
Wouldn't it be funny? He just goes off on his own. We go out. We finally get this shit on the seas. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've just been here, waiting this whole time, ready for you with my zombie army."
You just you leave your ship. You see, your ship comes up, and you're like, there's a ship coming on the horizon, except it's full of holes.
Pile of zombies climb up on top of each other like a swarm of ants, and out of the sea, Charles.
It'd be like Sea of Thieves, where just a ship comes out of the ocean.
Oh, fucking majestic. There's some dolphin sounds.
And I'm guessing those were the only undead in the area. There's no other. There's no dead bodies in the area.
There are a couple other graveyards, but this appears to be the one that he hit. So there's some other graveyards in the city. There's certainly more than 60 dead people buried in a city.
Yeah, of course. I think more like people dead in the ocean.
Oh yeah, actually, there's a ton of dead people in the ocean. But they're not undead. They're just regular dead. Piles of bones with nothing going on magically.
Yeah, I guess after she heads off, I'll go down to more of the deserted area of the docks to set up my doors so I can start doing the skeleton dance.
Okay. Go ahead and tax your potential by however much you need to in order to cast your new skeleton spell and get those crewmen into your door.
I know it's a third circle.
I believe so, yes. The fourth circle one was the boat. Third circle one was the crew.
I want to tax his necromancer, his baker skill, actually.
Okay.
So, when was it? So I want you to interrogate a ghost from the explosion of the university that saw the necromancer at the gravesite. Try to find out where he went.
That is reasonable.
Do I tax it or does he tax it?
I
He
tax
taxes
it, I believe.
So prior to leaving to go do your investigation, while you were still there, you
Yes.
summoned the ghost of one of the persons whose body was robbed, because they're not free will undead. They were just magically controlling the body. So the ghost is still there. All right. You summon the ghost. What do you want to know?
We want to find out where this guy went.
Oh, okay.
Red Guard can go.
So
Go
after
take care
he
of him.
sent the army off, he went north into the city. And while the ghost was, just being ghostly, the ghost did follow him a bit out of kind of upset that the body was taken, demanding to see his manager and such, because it was a ghost from a wealthy, entitled person. And this person went into the city and went and sat down in a bar with a group of people that you guys are now fairly familiar with, including Edgar Parrington. He didn't have Barnabas and Rourke were not with him yet. They didn't meet him until the morning after. But this is basically the previous day. This guy then went and sat down with them, and they had a conversation, apparently about some kind of anomaly with the magical doors they were using to transport the treasure. Apparently, one of the other guests at the table, also a necromancer, had some kind of a theory about what's going on with the doors and wanted to test it and needed to go back to the caravan in order to run his test. And so, Edgar gave him permission in the morning when they went to go examine the caravans for him to show up early, do what he needed to do to run his magical test, and then proceed to go and do that elsewhere while the accounting would happen. And that's when the ghost realized that the necromancer was just going to ignore him, even though plainly it was a ghost that the necromancer clearly had the power to commune with if it ever wanted to. But, so the ghost went back to haunt its grave. Quite a cooperative ghost, though. No rolls needed, as this ghost does believe that necromancer is a bad person.
Awesome. So if you want to use that information to stick the red guards on them, that would be...
Sure, I'll give them whoever the red guard is left there, because I don't know if the other ones had gone, and give them the details of the other people that are part of the undead heist.
Their crime scene investigator has gone off on the luxury yacht to try and get to Half Elven and warn them of incoming explosive zombies. But the other guy was still back there standing guard, and so with that information, he's going to go and make a formal report. So and who are the perpetrators? What are their names?
I'm not giving a full description of Mr. Explosive, which is I can't remember. I have to look up his name. Was he? Oh, I didn't actually. I don't think I gave him all. Where's the?
You named him Bill the Tiller.
Oh no, that's the name of people. I like. It's probably still in my Bloodhound gang thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Bromptis Bronzebottom,
Okay.
the dwarf.
Right.
What a name. What a name.
Wait, it's a dwarf necromancer?
Yeah.
How does that work exactly? Dwarves use sonomancy.
Mentors are pretty magically inert.
I didn't think that far through when I was making characters.
Maybe it's a gnome necromancer. Or if there's a way for it to be a sonomancer, like
He's like a really buff gnome, like an unusually tall, really buff. Like this guy hits the gym.
could be a defective dwarf, right? Nah, probably not. I don't know.
That would be some real. That would be some hot new lore
Yeah.
for sure.
How strict are these flashback rules?
Describe what you're trying to attempt here.
Yeah, Rorik noticed someone walking up to the carts when she was defending them during the inspection.
You want
Someone
Rourke
not
to
being
have
me?
noticed you walking up to the carts? Is that
Not me. The necromancer that was going to go test the doors.
Ah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
could be a fellow at the moment, yeah.
Will it conflict with where Rourke was otherwise that day?
I mean, Rourke was there protecting the wagons with Pennington or whatever his name is, right? I don't know where exactly the necromancer was when in that scene at that time.
So upon Rourke's arrival, I believe this was one session ago. This was a brief
Yeah,
session.
last session.
Upon Rourke's arrival, the necromancer left, which is why the necromancer
okay.
didn't recognize Rourke when seeing her. The necromancer was
Okay.
immediately leaving to go check on something. And now you know that something is this experiment they're running with the doors.
So Rourke was not at the wagon train at the same time as the necromancer.
I was there. They were leaving, so we would have crossed paths, but probably would have not have seen each other because we were going in different directions.
Okay, no, fair enough.
I'm assuming that's how it shakes out.
Yeah.
Like the likelihood that we actually saw each other and I would have picked up on that is extremely low.
Fair enough.
Unless you got there early, knocked the guy out, and then went back.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a stretch.
It's a stretch. Yeah.
That's a stretch for me. I'm not gonna pull that.
But meanwhile, up where Rourke is, while they're leaving the guards now, the main group is getting ready to go to the courthouse to begin to plead their case. So Barnabas, you are no longer required to travel with them, since your job is done. They will not object to your being with them, but they're about to deal with court legal stuff that does not necessarily concern Corlanth. So within the confines of your disguise, it's not really necessary that you're there. Do you want to remain with them, or do you want to go back to base and consult with your team?
Yeah, I think I will circle back with the team after a long, tiring day of taking inventory.
And
All
also
right.
trying to play it super cool around your arch nemesis.
Who has not recognized you?
Oh, that was nothing, Barnabas, he's got this.
So, Remy, you do notice Barnabas breaking off from the group and heading back back in the direction of the embassy, although I think part of the plan was to sidestep and stop by the tavern that you guys had taken over a back room of. If you want to meet up and plan something, or if you want to, you can just follow these guys to the courthouse.
I'm gonna head back to the tavern, I guess, and relax.
Cool.
The Crimson Guard's guarding the outside of the warehouse because they want to confiscate the goods.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, technically, they've not been ordered to. Right now, their orders, if they follow them, are to prevent the goods from leaving. But yes, they do want to confiscate the goods if the courts will let them. The guards on the inside of the warehouse are mining cooperative guards, and they want to prevent the Crimson Guards from confiscating their goods until they have a chance to smuggle the goods out of the warehouse.
Good. Okay. I will meet with. I will go to the tavern.
Okay.
Meet with Barnabas.
The remainder, which would be Rurik, you end up getting treated to a series of arguments between guild leaders as to who has both the authority and also the neutrality to arbitrate this dispute. And in the end, the only person they can think of that doesn't have a direct stake in this is technically a member of the Rights and Properties Guild, in that he pays his dues, but the Rights and Properties Guild unofficially has disavowed him because he often does pro bono work for citizens that can't afford legal representation, and they consider that distasteful, as they want everybody to have to pay for their legal services. But they also don't dare mess with him because of who his daughter is. And this would be Adius Delterasire. In a tradition that not a lot of people are necessarily familiar with outside of Talus, but which is fairly normal within Talus. Parents of a particularly famous individual, rather than making sure that individual calls themselves Adius' son, the parents will call themselves the name of their child's sire, so as to promote their child and that child's fame as part of their family name. And so Adius Delterasire is Deltera's father. He's also a lawyer. He has no magical capabilities whatsoever, but he's a lawyer, and he's a lawyer that not a lot of people like, which makes him a perfectly neutral party. And that concludes that session. And so when Adius holds court, which will probably be the next day, then this dispute will continue its arbitration. The parties involved, Rurik, you find out, are the Thieves Guild wants to tax the stuff, and they have a bunch of lawyers that are there to argue that the items are both passing through the city and also being manufactured in the city.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So that they get to tax it twice. That's their plan. They're going to tax it as a through good that's going through the city, and they're going to tax it as a manufactured good that was produced in the city simultaneously.
That's super bullshit.
Yeah. However, you might have been privy to the fact that they have a special deal. They're waiting for a signal from Dasco, and then they will immediately drop their suit because they're actually after something else. So when Dasco gives the signal, they'll immediately stop pursuing that. The other interested parties are the Rights and Properties Guild, who believe that they are basically owed processing fees for recording what is and isn't in the carts. Their agents have not yet been allowed to record what's in the carts, but they're arguing that they have to be allowed to record what's in the carts so that they can charge their processing fees. It's much like if a movie theater was charging you for not attending their movie theater, because they deserve to have your ticket money.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So
Love it, love it,
those
love
are the
it.
main two.
Hellscape.
And there's also present are a representative, not necessarily of the Crimson Guard, they're a representative of the palace of Violothan, King of Celebre, and that representative's argument is that the entirety of the mining cooperative's property should be confiscated for their crimes in Baron. And the mining cooperative, the fourth party involved in this, their argument is that it's their shit and all these people can go fuck it. And it's time for them to just, take their stuff and leave because they don't want to be here anyway. And those are the interested parties that are going to be debating in front of the judge in the next day. Let's see. Dasco. So Evatala comes out of the office completely in a different outfit. And some sailors are being gathered up to crew some new ships.
All right.
I presume you and your new friends are going to board one of those ships?
Yeah. We'll go ahead and get on whatever ship it is. I'll be chatting with my newfound friend.
Excellent. Alrighty then. I think that just about does it. Yeah. It's almost midnight, so I think this is a good time to bring things to a close. We're poised for several different avenues of getting things ready for your grand heist here.
I'm hoping that we all just kind of like seat of our pants it and that it all just intermingles flawlessly in the end.
Man, that's what I've been doing the entire time. So.
Well, I very much like how Dasco and Evatala are getting out ahead of the current problems. Like, well, a lot of people are dealing with the current, like, this is the problem that's happening. They're just getting ready to be already standing in place for the next set of problems.
I go for the long con, man.
I'm just worried that they're going to try to blow up the ships that our people are sitting on with the treasure.
So just a quick reminder, Barnabas, you were told that the dwarven equivalent of the CIA, which I think they just call the TIA, the Thoradil Intelligence Agency does plan to blow up the ships, and they wanted your help to do it. Dasco, you were promised absolution of your crimes and extraordinary leniency on the stealing of wealth if you can bring them the secret list of Apthian collaborators. Jackie Rourke now has some concern about the soul and spirit of their beloved being trapped in a necromantic prison. Charles, your friends are at large and are working against you. And Evatala, you're still rich.
Tight.
So I tell taking a talent effectively that allows me to scapegoat somebody for a crime I commit. And
Nice.
so instead of my uncle's plan, why not have the whole fishing guild be responsible for stealing all the money?
Makes sense. And Remy, your plan is either coming together or falling apart. I can't tell which.
This is the best part about not having a plan.
Yeah.
Alrighty, who wants to do closing ceremonies?
Let me try and go take a crack at it. I'm going to start with Tice. you just so effortlessly slotted yourself into an ongoing criminal investigation, and I appreciate you for doing that, because that is the enemy necromancer is just like fucking terrifying. So it's really nice that we have somebody who can kind of like work on their level to handle that avenue, because it's terrifying. Evatala gets a point for going to the absolute limit with that costume, and then doing an abrupt heel turn to do the pragmatic thing. I'm so proud. Our baby's growing up right before our eyes. To Dasco, you're buddying up with the fishing cooperative. I hope will sort of help us leverage some of that social goodwill that you're able to build up with them while we try to fuck everybody over from 7 different axes. Point to Barnabas for flawlessly executing his disguise in front of somebody who hates his fucking guts, and didn't even notice that his mortal enemy was like right there. And a point to Chris. Man, I feel like you do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and I'm trying really hard to remember, but I'm really sorry. I feel like you're just in the shadows, like making shit happen for sure. Like you're the one that sort of taxed the investigation, the interrogation of the ghost. So I think that was super helpful for kind of like really lasering in on our opponent, the necromancer. I think that's everyone. I can't give points to Dave, so.
All right. I want to give one to Mini Beast for being best bodyguard. Always like keeping your job up. One to Eben for definitely using your power to be able to use other people's powers, which helped us in the long run. I want to give one to Echelon for quote unquote sleeping with the fishes, getting buddies with the fishermen. I want to give Rav for I fabulous my way onto every scene, because that's the only way how to do it. And I want to give one to Shifty for I don't know which character Shifty was. My brain's already
Barnabas
for I feel so bad. Yeah, I'm trying to remember names, or not names. So what the role they are.
He's a master of disguise.
Yeah, for being a master of disguise, you're being awesome. Also the fact that the only reason why the necromancers are so horrifying is because I made them.
I know, Tice. I know. Stop making so many terrifying characters. Except, I mean, keep doing it, but oh my god, dude.
Yeah, both of them. The goblin that summons demons. Also the gnome that makes explosive undead.
Bro, your demon goblin guy has my girlfriend, dude. It's not cool. It's not cool, bro. I mean, not your fault, but goddamn. Now I have to find a specialist? Fuck. Is there a Google? Can I Google how do I get my girlfriend out of this coin?
You're gonna have to get the coin first.
Yeah, not a problem. Did you see me? Last time I punched a horse. I'm gonna be okay.
All right, I'll go. So, Echelon for getting yourself on the ship with a group of allies. Viv for sacrificing your wardrobe for the greater good and wearing waterproof, ugly mitts. Barnabas for getting past your nemesis skillfully. Tice for reminding me about. I'm just imagining like lemmings underwater with your amazing roll and then blowing them up. And Rorik for your dedication to the job and staying in your role as bodyguard. So you're available whenever we need you.
Okay, I will go. Point to Tice for once again commandeering the undead. And also getting what may or may not have been my cousin's ship commandeered by an authority figure. A point to Kristen for completely pulling the wool over Jax as well, and then just being able to walk away, having done your job, and on to the next venture. Point to Ed for recognizing very quickly that Avatala was a liability and you didn't want to be near her. Point to Chris for not having a plan but somehow always having a plan. I think that's a really fun dynamic going on. And point to Jackie for not completely losing her mind when you found out the love of your life was in a coin. That's everyone.
I'm real upsetty spaghetti about it, not gonna lie. Well, my character is. I think it's very fucking interesting.
Yeah, so I'll give one to Tice for zombie bowling. Taking out zombies with other zombies, that was pretty good. Also an epic roll there. To Avatala for pretending to be a captain, that was pretty good. Even though it didn't work out exactly as planned, I think it turned out okay. You turned it around well. Chris, for your just general dedication to the idea that you don't have a plan and you can't fail. It's a good strategy. Kristen, for being master of disguise, even for people that know exactly who you are and are actually probably even looking out for you. And Jackie, for just being the muscle and the guard, just being always on guard duty, effectively. Like whenever there's a chance that anybody gets beat up, you're basically right next to them, making
breathing
sure that
breathing heavily on the nape of
That's
their
right.
neck, ready
That's right.
to go.
Yeah, it's good. Junkyard dog.
All right, I think it's my turn. Point to Viv for financing the ships on the down low. A point to Chris for laying low. I feel like your character kind of like lays low until like we need to start like making a plan or something, and then it'll pop out and be like, "Oh, cool! I think I know what we're going to be able to do." But it seemed like you kind of were laying in wait until there was the right moment for you to do something. A point to Tice for creating crazy characters that we're now having to contend with. And then that follows on with the point to Jackie for keeping it cool when you found out that your girlfriend was locked in a coin by one of Tice's characters. And a point to Ed. It's good to have friends. Thanks for buddying up with the Fisherman's Guild. We need all the connections we can get here to pull this off. So hopefully that'll come in handy. I think I got everything.
Yeah, I think that was everybody. Did anybody not have a turn? Alrighty. Thank you guys. We'll pick this up hopefully next week. I don't foresee any problems on my end.
Yep.
I'll see how I am. I'm dealing with Percy's not doing very well, so I'm dealing with that right now. Hopefully, I'll be around next week, but we'll see how it goes.
Hope she feels better, girl.
Yeah, she's not going to get better. That's the problem.
I
So,
see.
Oh.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and pick that up next time.